Hi, thank you for joining us today as we talk about 5 common behavior pitfalls that we see in education and things that teachers and educators can do to avoid falling into those traps. The first pitfall we want to talk about happens with communication. When we become dysregulated, our ability to communicate diminishes. We don't process language as well, and we often struggle to communicate our needs and wants. Likewise, when we are faced with a situation in which another person is upset or agitated, we tend to talk louder or faster or use more words in an attempt to gain control of the situation. Unfortunately, these two natural responses don't mesh. The more we talk, the more the person we are interacting with shuts down. Rather than becoming bigger, we need to focus on being smaller. We need to model the behavior we want to see rather than matching it. Use fewer words, speak more slowly, and lower your volume. This will help your student process what you are saying and will increase the likelihood that they will comply. In addition, pay attention to your nonverbal cues. Pay attention to proximity. You may need to take a few steps back to allow them space, or you may need to move closer to offer support. Make sure your posture is relaxed and open, shoulders down, arms at your sides. Keep your volume low and make sure your tone is calm and inviting. You also want to set limits and expectations. Avoid arguing. It's okay to ignore challenging comments and redirect the student to the task at hand. Repeat instructions in simple language if needed. For example, it's okay to just say, "sit down," rather than, "I need you to go sit at your desk, please." It's okay to repeat this as many times as needed. You can also set boundaries by providing fail-safe choices, something like, "Do you want to talk here or do you want to talk out in the hall?" You can also remind the student of positive consequences. An example of this is, "If you finish this problem, then we can be done with math." This can also be paired with visuals in order to assist with processing. When they are dysregulated, students often respond better to visuals than to words. You can include basic symbols on your lanyard, for example, a stop sign or a chair, and can point to them rather than talking. You can also draw simple pictures on a worksheet or using a dry erase marker. When we adjust our communication, we can often de-escalate the situation and we can help the student find success. A second common pitfall is focusing our energy on reacting versus preparing. We want to spend our energy preparing for and preventing behaviors rather than reacting when they occur. Attend to the behaviors you want to see. Understand what motivates your student and provide frequent reinforcement. If they are attention motivated, provide frequent praise. Talk about their interests, ask them questions, and give them plenty of opportunities to interact in a positive way with you and with your other students. Provide specific praise. Rather than just saying, "Good job," comment on what they did well. For example, "I love how well you read that last page." Many students struggle to make these connections and may link a general "good job" to other things happening at the same time, such as looking around the room. Environmental modifications and accommodations can be highly effective in reducing problem behavior. If the student is sensitive to noise, provide noise-canceling headphones. If they need to move, let them stand or pace at the back of the class. Provide frequent opportunities for them to get out of their seat in a socially appropriate way. For students with challenging behavior, prepare your responses ahead of time. Train everyone involved on how to react and what effective strategies work. Talk to your students about what they should do if someone is angry. Most importantly, practice. Practice both adaptive behaviors, those you want to see, and coping strategies. The more you practice, the more those tools will be used. In addition, consider preparing a go bag for unexpected or challenging situations. If you are going on a field trip and the student struggles with change, you can have sensory items and preferred reinforcers handy. You might also include social stories or visuals to help the student understand expectations. Visual supports, such as visual schedules, can also help students on a daily basis. Do not assume that the student automatically knows what to do. Confirm, teach, and reinforce. Finally, conduct a functional behavior assessment if behaviors persist. An FBA can help staff understand why a student is behaving the way he is and can help inform effective interventions. Next, we are going to talk about rewards. Staff should avoid taking away or removing something that the student has already earned. For example, if a student has worked to earn a pajama day at school on Friday, then has a bad afternoon on Thursday, the student should still get to participate in pajama day. This can break trust with the student and can reduce their motivation to behave. It can be extremely frustrating for staff to provide the reward after challenging behavior, but removing something that has already been earned is extremely harmful in the long run. This can result in increased behaviors moving forward, since the student is unsure if they will actually get what they have worked so hard to earn. As adults, we can think of this in terms of work. If we were promised a day off if we got all of our IEPs written for the month, then that day was taken away because we forgot to respond to a parent email, we would be upset and angry. You would lose trust in your employer and would be less motivated to get your work done on time moving forward. Our kids are the same. When a consequence is needed, consider other options that do not involve taking away something they have earned. For example, considering the pajama day, you could reduce an iPad time that day, or you could shorten their recess. There are many other consequences that can be provided that will continue to reinforce the behavior that we want to see with our students. Now, let's talk about coping skills. When a student is escalated, it is natural to remind them of their coping skills or coach them to use tools that will help them regulate. However, coping skills should not be introduced when a student is upset. The student should have been explicitly taught how to use a coping skill and when to use it before they need it, when they are calm. They should have practiced the skill many, many times so that it becomes second nature. If a tool is only introduced when a student is dysregulated, they will start to associate that tool with negative emotions. Over time, the tool will become ineffective and the student will be resistant to using it. If they are taught the skill and have received frequent reinforcement for using it, they will not only understand how to use the tool, but will be much more likely to use it when it's needed. For many students, co-regulation is extremely effective when combined with pre-taught regulation strategies. If the student has been taught deep breathing exercises, practice deep breathing with them. If they use a sensory item, use that item with them. As stated before, model what you want to see, and they will match your actions. Our last pitfall is treating behavior as a choice. This is not to say that students will never choose to be defiant or disrespectful. That will happen. However, in many instances, the behavior is a result of dysregulation or a lack of skill, and the behavior is not a purposeful choice. When we become anxious, angry, or upset, our frontal lobe, or thinking brain, shuts down and our survival brain takes over. Many of us are familiar with the terminology fight, flight, or freeze. When this happens, we feel threatened and adrenaline starts pumping. For our students, this threat may come from unpredictable sources. They may feel anxious because they don't understand how to complete an assignment or because of a change in their routine. It could be a result of biological factors, such as not eating or taking their medication before coming to school. It could be a result of trauma and may have very little to do with the current situation. It could also be a result of developmental delays, such as delays with social skills, cognitive skills, or communication skills. Our limbic system works to react to situations in the environment and produce responses. Its job is to keep us safe. It also plays an important role in memory and emotional responses and can cause reactions in our students that are out of proportion to the situation. If we can change our lens and can learn to view behavior as communication, then we can start to depersonalize behavior. We won't take it quite as personally. We can learn to look for the underlying communication in order to de-escalate the situation and teach important skills. We can recognize triggers and can be more effective in preventing behaviors in the long run. Thanks again for joining us for this video. This was brought to you by the Utah State Board of Education Behavior Support Team. To reach someone on our team, you can reach out to Chrisanne Lewis, the Student Services Coordinator, at chrisanne.lewis@schools.utah.gov.